Thanks to PlayAsia for supporting this video. If you want to support me and the channel and get yourself a 5% discount, use the link in the description and use the coupon code BLUEVITA in order to save yourself a little bit of money. Thanks for your support, enjoy the video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Furwind. This is a two-dimensional platformer. That's pretty much it. I honestly thought when I first saw this game that it was going to be a Metroidvania. That's kind of what the description of the game just kind of not outright, it just kind of insinuates. But no, it's really just a relatively simple platformer with not that much going for it, if I'm being perfectly honest. But let's take the time to dig into why. If you go down to the settings, you'll realize that there's nothing in the way of options that is even remotely, like, different from the usual set of sound sliders and language options, so nothing else for it but to hop straight in. So for some reason they're starting us on chapter 1, even though we're up to chapter 2. And this is pretty much what it looks like. There's no reason to hang around here, so let's just go on to the next level. The Ancestor Colgin. I don't know what this is, but judging by the fact that we've got a straight shot to what I'm assuming is going to be a... yeah, it's going to be one of those endless runner levels again, isn't it? Oh goody, I was right. Wonderful. So yeah, it's a very simple platformer game. You move, you jump. You have some special abilities, but they actually appear to be taken away from you in these auto-scroller stages, which is a little annoying, I gotta say, because it would have been nice to show that stuff off. And one of the major problems with the game is already showing, and that is the game's frame rate. The game's frame rate is not very stable, to put it lightly. It's not as bad as your traditional Ratalaika port, not by any sense of the imagination, but it's still quite shifty, even at the best of times. I very rarely see this game hit a smooth and uninterrupted 60 frames a second. It's usually hanging around the 40s to 50s, and if too many enemies get on screen at one time, well, it just hits the floor and stays there. And it's actually kind of annoying, if I'm being perfectly honest, because the game's platforming is a tiny bit wonky. Just a little bit. There are times where the frame rate can and will absolutely screw you out of a jump that you were practically guaranteed to hit. I definitely wasn't guaranteed to hit that one, unfortunately, because it's one of those sorts of games where you need to hit checkpoints in order to actually come back into the level. We get to do all of that shit all over again, because God, I hate it when games make you do that. It was no challenge whatsoever. It's just one of those really annoying jumps where if you're trying to, I don't know, run away from an auto-scrolling screen, you can't tell exactly what'll get you killed. And even then, jumps are just a little bit wacky, as I said. The collision mask on your main character is a little bit bigger than you might expect when it comes to enemies, and then a little bit smaller when it comes to literally anything else. And it can be kind of hard to deal with that at the best of times. It gets really annoying when you're getting hit by enemies you swear don't even touch you. Meanwhile, you're missing jumps because it looks like you should be able to land on the very edge of that column, but for whatever reason, you just fall right through it like it wasn't even there. The frame rate doesn't help things either because it actually gives the controls a little bit of input lag. It's kind of uncomfortable. When the enemies well and truly start showing up on screen, you end up running into a little bit of an issue. Oh, come on. I barely even touched that. Fuck me. Yes, they do make you do levels in this game linearly, so I have to get through this if I want to progress any further, and, well, they're hiding a new ability away from me at the end of it, so I might as well stick around and do it. The checkpoint system in this game ends up being a lot more frustrating It starts out feeling pretty clever, and I'll explain why once we actually get to a level that has a checkpoint. But at the moment, it just ends up being a pain in the ass. But as I was saying, what? Really? Seriously? I touched the ground, for God's sake. I touched it again. I touched the ground again and it still wouldn't let me. Fuck's sake. You can tell when it's your double jump because you flip in the air. The flip is always the double jump. So I'm coming into contact with the ground, but still counting it. Yeah, see, look at that. That 110% looked like I hit the ground, and it's still... Remember how I said the platforming in this game is a little wonky? Yeah, it's true. The other thing about the platforming is that without the abilities, it's not really interesting. And hell, it takes you a while to get the first ability. It's just this for a while. I mean, you do have the ability to attack enemies, and there are enemies, just not on the auto-scrolling stages. For whatever reason. Yeah, the thing about the platforming is just that outside of bullshit like this random double jump, even though I very clearly touched the ground sort of thing going on, it's just not that challenging. I take a hit. Oh, come on! Fuck me. How long have I been doing this? 7 minutes. Great. 7 minutes of this bullshit stage. Gonna have to redo the entire bloody video now, aren't I? Yep. There, got the bastard. Not recording that again. Right, so this will give me a power up. And what is the power up? Really? Really? That better be more than just automatic heal. Use it to heal your wounds. Yeah, fuck that. That's not even interesting. That's not even remotely interesting. That's dumb. Could have given me a way better power up than that. So, yeah, that was an example of a level. There's a few different kinds of levels. There's one that I'm not going to show off right now because it's a bit of a pain in the ass. You've also got challenge maps that you unlock by going around and finding them in the main levels. You've also got prisoners, and prisoners, as far as I can tell, don't actually help you out that much. It's a bit weird. The first one actually does help you out a little bit, but the other ones afterwards are, well, not so helpful. So, we want to go do a proper level next, which will be the magmatic zone. But first I want to go to the Mystic Shop, because this is what you spend your gems that you earn in the runs on. So I can buy things like extra health, extra stamina for attacks, seeds, which I think are charges for your abilities, increase the amount of flights you can do, maximize your chance of not spending a charge when you fly, regenerate health, and probability of a greater healing. Okay. The English in this game is not great. And to add on to that, there really isn't that much of a story either. It's basically, the forest creatures are a little bit disturbed because some dark creature has escaped from its ancient bonds and has decided to try and kill everything in the forest. That's more or less all there is to it. And you're basically just going around trying to find the temples of the evil deity so that you can fight it and win. Is that an enemy? No, it's just background decoration. This game tends to do things that look like enemies but end up being background decorations and vice versa sometimes. Come on, thank you. So yeah, this is your bog standard level. I mean, there are a couple of other different kinds of levels that are like this. For example, there is a level where you... there are more levels where they're more of an open sprawl for you to explore, like the one that convinced me to put this game down because it was so fucking frustrating. There's also a kind of level that's just a regular wander around, but you're not actually like in the dark like you are in the level that I previously mentioned. Oh, grab the fucking thing. Grab the heals, grab that. And you saw the auto-scroller levels. There are also boss levels, and the only problem with all of these are none of them are particularly interesting. These levels are arguably the most complicated because you have to find 2 talismans. And you find the talismans by beating mini-bosses. That's pretty much all there is to them. And then you just have to find your way to the exit, of course. I haven't actually seen these enemies before, so if you're wondering why I'm having so much trouble with them, it's because it's weird that they change direction after you attack them. Enemies in this game are fucking weird. When you attack them, they get an invulnerability to the next attack that you throw out. Which is not great, but, I mean, okay, sure, prevent me from instant killing them. That's absolutely fine, I suppose, in a game design sense. But the thing is, as soon as their invincibility period is over, they have the ability to do shit like wander in a completely different direction, which can be in your direction, and you can end up taking the hit from it. It gets really frustrating really quickly when you have to deal with this, especially with enemies that you haven't seen before. So often you'll go up to something and hit it, thinking, oh, I'll just hit this, I'll hurt it, I'll do some damage. And then it'll immediately come out of its invulnerability period and attack you and hit you, and you'll just lose some health. It's not easy to predict the first time, which kind of sucks. It doesn't do the Mario Brothers thing where you get to see what the enemy does before they actually do it. So you're just left guessing and you have to take the hit. This is your checkpoint system, by the way. You hit the resurrection totem, it costs a little bit of money. But it also costs more money the further on you get. Fun, right? So you have to be giving up parts of your money that you would be taking out of this level to spend on upgrades in order to actually save yourself if you do a bad job. Oh yeah, also there's this Simon Says bullshit that throws out these random fucking things at you while you're trying to yellow, blue, red. Yellow, blue, red, red. Yellow, blue, red, red. Yeah, they've made me do this shit already, so seeing it again just makes me annoyed more than anything else. Why would they recycle this puzzle again? I've already seen it twice. Seems like a lot of these levels are actually really similar. Like, I just played through Chapter 1, and Chapter 2 just seems to be slightly longer versions of concepts they had in Chapter 1. Not entirely sure why, but there you go. You do also have another ability, a couple of other abilities I haven't gone over yet. So you do have your regular square to attack, and that is pretty much your mainstay, because you do have the ability to press circle to jet forward and, well, basically not be damaged by anything in your path, but that's not useful for actually attacking. You do also have a smoke bomb that you can throw out with the L button that actually does damage. So if I can try and demonstrate on this thing here, but the bouncing and just general angle of throwing these bombs out with the L button is so unpredictable that I find them to be almost useless. So I'm not entirely sure why they're in the game. Oh, fuck off, damn it. I'm gonna have to go back and hit that again. Oh great, it's one of these things. They move so fucking randomly that it's almost impossible to tell where they're going to be. Oh great. And look where I get put back to. All the way down here. Let me guess, I don't even have the first half of the talisman yet. Yep, that means I have to do the fucking Guess Who game again. Or no, Simon Says. Sorry, Simon Says. God forbid I be slightly inaccurate. I swear that thing was just sent in as a fucking homing missile. You know, for the most part, it's just this. Oh, fuck. God, I have to do it again? The upside seems to be that it's not actually it's not actually a different pattern by the looks of it. Still, this shit is repetitive, and the fact you've got an ability that doesn't have much use, an ability that has no use, and I'm talking about the smoke bombs there, and in order to like fix these useless abilities, like the ability that they gave me to try and distract me from the fact that I've got two useless abilities is an ability that's also kind of useless, but not actually. Yeah, but not actually, because I appear to be losing a lot more health than I really should be at this point. But yeah, it's not interesting. These puzzles are kind of bullshit in the sense that they're just like lame repeats more than anything else. I just feel like I'm playing the same stuff again, but slightly longer after having played the first chapter, because it was basically the same thing. I more or less gave up on the game after I had to play a level where it's dark. You have to keep fireflies around you by visiting these like crystal dumps every minute or so, but there are also like other crystals that'll keep you from losing fireflies for too much, so it's not too bad. But of course, the entire rest of the level is dark, and because of that, it took me 25 fucking minutes to find the way to another half of the talisman, because the level was designed in such a shit way that it was almost impossible to see. It's legitimately one of the most frustrating levels I've had to play in a while, and it's completely killed all my interest in this, because as I said before, game's got no story, so all it's got going for it is this gameplay, really. It looks okay, for the most part. The animations are actually pretty good by the usual set of standards that you see set out by your traditional indie platformer on the Vita. But the performance issues and the fact that there's nothing really interesting in the way of the gameplay mechanics doesn't really help it out in doesn't really help it out. And you got frustrating stuff like these bugs that you have to hit and then just walk away a couple of steps, so then when they step into you, and it just feels like busy work more than it does a proper challenge. And that's actually the entire game, more or less. None of the moves or anything are interesting. A couple of the challenges are basically just simple platforming with a ton of enemies put in the way. That's at least all the challenges that I tried. We'll try one just for the purpose of demonstration, but it really doesn't get much better than this. Just stale, uninteresting platforming that doesn't perform the best. With some bullshit sections that I can't bloody stand. Some weird design decisions and poor performance. I don't want to play it anymore. It started out alright, it started out promising, but then it just never went any further. I've been playing this game for like 2 hours at this point, and it just doesn't feel like it's doing anything even particularly interesting. So, yeah, I've had enough. I don't want to play it anymore. I've got no reason to. It's just not interesting. I don't want to go. Oh well, I've got some health back. That's nice. The exit's probably up here somewhere. Hit this thing and run away. Oh, god damn it. Seriously? How did neither of those hit? Remember what I said about your hitbox being small when it comes to shit you want to do, but as soon as they want to hit you, you're fucking ginormous in comparison. That's what this game feels like constantly. At least I don't have to do the fucking Simon Says again until I get back up to the top. God, these things are impossible to predict. Alright, come on. Red. Red and then yellow. Red, yellow, red. Oh, come on! Fucking knockback, I swear to Christ. Do I really just have to wait until these things disappear? Is that all I can realistically do? Since they seem to lock onto you like fucking homing missiles half the time, so it just doesn't seem even remotely safe to go out there while they're bouncing around. Red, yellow, red, yellow. Now that I've got the talisman, I can go for the exit. He says, coming to the fucking hallway of stupid bugs. This is just busy work. There's no challenge to beating this enemy. It's just step in front, take the swing, step away, and then take another swing. It's just so... What's that phrase that Homer Simpson tries to say sounding smart? Shallow and pedantic? Because honestly, that fits like a... That fits like a charm when it comes to describing what this game starts to feel like after you've played like the 3rd level in a row that just seems to be a slightly longer version of ones you just played in the previous chapter. Shallow and pedantic. Alright. Show me a challenge level before we give up on this. Short, but intense. So as I said before, these challenge levels are... Oh. Okay, apparently just walking back out kills you. Alright, fair enough. But yeah, as I was about to start saying, challenge levels are literally just... There's an orb blocking the exit. There's the exit. We need to go and find the orb and give it a good smack. And once we do, the doorway will open up. If I can just avoid getting hit by the hundreds of bats, because they just fucking swarm you, because of course they do. Alright, we'll just... Really? God, you don't even have time to recover before the rest of the bats just swarm you. You just get stun locked into oblivion. Yeah, I've had a feeling. Alright. And there's no light crystals in this, so it's a time challenge. Hence the name Short But Intense, I assume. Yep, and the game's frame rate just absolutely tanks, making it a fucking bitch to control. Holy shit. Let's just jump all the way over here, and we're out. Yeah, that's challenge level. You don't get anything for it, just 100% completion stuff. And then you've got the prisoner level, which is just enemies wandering around and you have to kill them. Yes, really. This is like the one place bombs are useful, because they're just free hits. They actually give you... That stamina meter up in the top left actually controls how much you can do melee attacks. And at first I thought this was going to be a cool idea, because it's like, oh, it'll make you pace yourself. There'll be enemies, like, they'll take advantage of the fact that you can't attack as fast, and so therefore you really have to... Excuse me. Therefore you really have to plan your strategy. And I know it looks like I'm just banging my head against the wall, because I more or less am. There's no real point putting much thought into this. Oh, you can't throw bombs while you're in the air, by the way. So those two are not going to take this lying down. Nope. See what I mean about the bomb being useless? That would be the best opportunity to at least get a free hit, but yeah. I don't get it, because they don't let you throw the bomb in midair for some reason. But as I was saying, at first I thought the attacks being limited was going to be interesting, because they'd actually designed the game around the idea of you needing to really pace your attacks, but it's not true. They don't create any sort of reason for that to happen, and having to just wait for your stamina to recharge in order to attack again is just a waste of time. Much like the rest of this game, in fact, because we've been here for half an hour and I don't want to fucking play it anymore. So, that was a look at Furwind. It starts out really promising, but it repeats itself a bit too much. The power-ups are boring, so you're basically just left with your tail whip, which is arbitrarily limited. And the game doesn't run very well. The performance will drop constantly, it'll add lag to the input, and it just won't be a particularly pleasant experience. I don't like it, I wouldn't recommend you go buy it. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all at next time.